Causes of smoke-related issues. Tobacco use. Smoking and tobacco use are major causes of smoke-related health problems, including lung cancer, heart disease, and chronic respiratory diseases. Indoor air pollution. Burning solid fuels, such as wood or coal, for heating or cooking in poorly ventilated indoor spaces, leads to exposure to indoor air pollution, which can harm health. Wildfires. Natural events like wildfires and controlled burns release vast amounts of smoke into the air, impacting the health of people in affected areas. Industrial processes. Industrial activities, such as manufacturing and chemical production, can release pollutants and particulate matter into the air, contributing to air pollution. Vehicular emissions. Motor vehicles emit pollutants, including fine particulate matter and toxic gases, which can lead to air pollution and respiratory problems in urban areas. Effects of smoke-related issues. Respiratory problems. Prolonged exposure to smoke, whether from tobacco or indoor pollution, can cause respiratory problems such as coughing, shortness of breath, and increased risk of lung infections. Cancer risk. Smoking tobacco significantly increases the risk of lung, throat, and mouth cancers. Smoke from other sources can also contain carcinogens that contribute to cancer risk. Cardiovascular issues. Smoking and exposure to smoke can harm the cardiovascular system, increasing the risk of heart disease, stroke, and other circulatory problems. Reduced lung function. Long-term exposure to smoke can lead to reduced lung function, making it harder to breathe and reducing overall physical fitness. Environmental impact. Smoke from sources like wildfires contributes to air pollution and can harm the environment, affecting not only human health but also ecosystems. Prevention of smoke-related issues. Smoking cessation. Quitting smoking and avoiding tobacco use is one of the most effective ways to prevent smoke-related health problems. Indoor air quality. Improve indoor air quality by using clean fuels, proper ventilation, and air purifiers to reduce exposure to indoor air pollution. Wildfire safety. Follow local guidelines for wildfire safety, including evacuation plans and fire-resistant construction, to protect against smoke exposure during wildfires. Emission reduction. Support and implement measures to reduce emissions from industrial processes and vehicles, such as using cleaner energy sources and promoting public transportation. Causes of radioactivity and effects. Nuclear accidents. Nuclear power plant accidents, like Chernobyl and Fukushima, release radioactive materials into the environment, posing health risks to those exposed. Radiation therapy. Medical treatments involving ionizing radiation, such as radiation therapy for cancer, can cause radiation exposure and damage to healthy tissues. Occupational exposure. Workers in nuclear facilities, radiology departments, and other radioactive environments are at risk of radiation exposure. Radioactive materials. Improper disposal of radioactive materials and nuclear weapons testing can release radiation into the environment. Effects of radioactivity. Radiation sickness. High levels of ionizing radiation can cause radiation sickness, with symptoms like nausea, weakness, hair loss, and potential organ failure. Cancer. Ionizing radiation increases the risk of cancer, as it can damage DNA. Long-term exposure can lead to various types of cancer. Genetic mutations. High doses of radiation can lead to genetic mutations that may be passed on to future generations. Cell damage. Ionizing radiation can damage living cells, causing tissue damage and immediate health issues. Environmental impact. Radioactive contamination can affect ecosystems, wildlife, and food chains, posing long-term environmental risks. Prevention of radioactivity issues. Safety measures. Implement and follow strict safety measures in nuclear facilities to prevent accidents and radioactive releases. Radiation protection. Use protective equipment and procedures to minimize exposure for workers in radiation-prone occupations. Proper disposal. Ensure the safe disposal of radioactive materials and promote responsible management of nuclear waste. Regulations. Enforce and adhere to international and national regulations governing nuclear safety, non-proliferation, and disarmament. Both smoke-related issues and radioactivity pose significant health risks, and prevention efforts should focus on reducing exposure, improving safety measures, and adhering to relevant regulations. Public awareness and education are also critical for minimizing the health impact of these issues. The Israel-Palestine conflict has had profound and lasting effects on the daily lives of people living in the region. These effects are complex and multifaceted, impacting individuals on both sides of the conflict, as well as the international community. Here are some of the key ways in which the conflict affects daily life. 1. Security concerns. Daily life in Israel and the Palestinian territories is marked by heightened security concerns. People must contend with the risk of violence, such as rocket attacks, suicide bombings, and clashes between security forces and protesters. 2. Restrictions on movement. Palestinians living in the West Bank and Gaza Strip face significant restrictions on their movement, with checkpoints and barriers making it difficult to access essential services, employment, and educational opportunities. Israelis living near the Gaza border also face limitations on their daily activities due to the threat of rocket attacks. 3. Economic impact. The conflict has taken a toll on the economies of both Israel and the Palestinian territories. The ongoing conflict deters foreign investment, leads to job loss, and hampers economic development. Palestinians often face higher unemployment rates and lower living standards. 4. Education disruptions. Palestinian students and educators regularly experience disruptions to their education due to clashes, closures of schools, and access restrictions. Israeli students also face interruptions in their academic pursuits due to security concerns. 5. Psychological impact. The conflict has resulted in profound psychological trauma, particularly among children and young people who have grown up in a region marked by violence, insecurity, and the loss of loved ones. 6. Fear and anxiety. Daily life in the region is characterized by a constant undercurrent of fear and anxiety, as individuals are aware of the potential for violence and the uncertainty of the situation. 7. Impact on healthcare. The conflict affects access to healthcare services, making it challenging for people to receive essential medical treatment, particularly in Gaza, where there are periodic health crises due to the blockade and infrastructure damage. 8. Humanitarian concerns. The situation in Gaza, which has experienced multiple military conflicts, has resulted in humanitarian crises, including shortages of clean water, electricity, and medical supplies, further exacerbating the daily hardships faced by residents. 9. Political polarization. The conflict has deepened political divisions and polarization, which can affect daily life through societal tension and the breakdown of relationships between individuals and communities. 10. Daily interactions. People in the region must navigate complex social and cultural dynamics, including interactions with people from the other side of the conflict, sometimes resulting in tension and mistrust. The Israel-Palestine conflict casts a long shadow over daily life in the region, leading to security concerns, economic hardships, disruptions to education, psychological trauma, and ongoing anxiety. Achieving a lasting peace and resolution to the conflict is essential for improving the daily lives and well-being of people in both Israel and the Palestinian territories.